Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are internationally. Welcome to Global Media Network, LLC. Passionate World Talk Radio is a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network. Our motto is and always will be educate, enlighten, and entertain. And forgive me for reading this brief introduction today. Our special guest is Karen Pudetti, who wrote a book called Rags to Riches: How Beauty Icons Made It Big. You should know. If you don't, I certainly didn't. I was educated. Top salon spa owner and consultant, provides roadmap for business success for ambitious entrepreneurs, i.e. women, especially current and future salon owners, through the stories of beauty icons and every aspect of the beauty industry, including celebrity hairstylists and groomers, the eyebrow guru, nail artists to the stars, and people who transform beauty businesses. So welcome very much, Karen, to Cool Your Heels with Lillian.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be talking to you today.
Well, when I saw the release that your press release agent Bonnie sent me, I thought, now that is an industry that no one really knows about. They think they do because there have been comedies and other serial programs fixing up failed beauty shops, but that's not the purpose of your book. So could you please give a little background to the audience so they understand just who you are?
Well, again, Karen Pudetti. I graduated from college with my accounting degree, and I worked for CPA firms and the big 500 companies. And I realized pretty quickly that I didn't like either world. It wasn't my passion. It didn't make me get up and be excited about it in the morning. And I knew at a pretty young age, I needed to be my own boss. I was much better at being a boss than taking direction. So I kept going back to this one particular point in my life where my mom taught modeling. And me and my sisters, we went with her to work. And it was a big production day. The women were getting their hair and makeup done. There was runway work being done. They were shooting commercials. So my sisters and I got to have our makeup done and our hair done. I just remember that transformation, even at such a young age. I remember thinking, wow, I look pretty good for being a little kid. And I just felt so confident and felt really empowered. And I just remember thinking, I wish I could feel like this every day. And that's why I kept going back to the beauty industry. I mean, it's one thing in our industry, we want people to feel good and look good. So it's about the outside as well as the inside of the person.
Well, I was always taught by my mom. Now I'm a 50s kid, which is different from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And my mom told me, if your hair is done right, the rest of your day will fall into place. So if you're having a bad day, run to the nearest salon and get yourself pulled together. Is this true?
You know what? It's 100% true. And even in my generation and my daughter's generation, they know if they're having a bad hair day, they're just not going to have a good day, and they better restart it all over again.
So now that you've explained why you wanted to go into the salon business, and I understand you interviewed successful salon owners about their trials and tribulations. So please tell them how you've set up your book. I've read it, and it's very impressive. I just wish you were around in 2005, but you weren't.
So after doing consulting for salons and spas around the United States, the one thing I felt I was missing is I really wanted to help more people at once. Our industry is a little different than most industries. Generally, about 50% of the money taken into the business goes out to commissions and salaries. So our bottom line is already shrunk down compared to most businesses. So I was just thinking, our industry is amazing because we have people who do amazing things, and they become well known for their niche, whether it be hair, nails, whatever their thing is. But then what happens is they're making all this money, they feel, for somebody else. So they want to go into the industry, make their own salon and spa and build their own little empire. Unfortunately, when they get to that point, they don't have the skills and the knowledge to run a successful business. And that's where you see people struggle all the time in our industry. Our industry is a second behind restaurants to close. And normally, before the pandemic, 20% of all salons and spas closed within the first few years. After the pandemic, 33% of all salons and spas closed for good. And only 1.7% of salons and spas hit the $1 million mark. And yet we have such talented people. So I kept thinking, I want people to run their business like a business, so they're much more profitable, so then they can live their financial freedom dreams as they wish. So that was really what stemmed me to want to write the book. Then next, I knew if I wrote a book, no one's going to be interested in what I had to say. So I'm thinking, how can I get a lot of people interested in this book? So I really handpicked different gurus in all the different niches. I have a Medi Spa person, nails, groomers, hairstylists, eyebrows, just somebody who was in the business world. I have a girl who was 23 and won an AHA award. So it was just, I wanted to take different people in the whole industry and interview them and ask them how they started, what were their struggles, what were their like turning points, and how did they become who they are today. And it was a very humbling experience. These people are like your next door neighbors, and I was a little nervous to be like asking them. So I wanted to tell their story. And then the next portion of each chapter, I wanted anyone who reads it, wherever you are, you could be just starting out or you're trying to hit the $1 million mark, there's an assessment to where you are currently. And then each chapter will tell you a little bit about, like, if you would pick out 2 things you want to accomplish in this chapter, and how there's a how-to for the third part in the book. And just so you know, then I took this book and decided people are going to want more. So I made a course. It's Rags to Riches in Action. And I took each chapter and really dived down. And some of the chapters are the financials, marketing, branding, finding your niche, skills to pay the bills. So it really dives down. So everything I learned from my own salon, spa, and laser center, and everything I did for all my consulting clients, I put into the course. So hopefully wherever they are, they can take the book and then the course and really dive down and take them to whatever their next level is that they want to be. And in the process, make more money and be much more profitable.
That sounds really good. Now, when you interview these people, was it more women than men, or was it an equal? Because I know for men now, going to the salon is just as big a deal as a woman. And yet I see very few men who are either hairstylists or nail specialists or groomers. And certainly from what I've seen of the last 2 generations, they can use a lot of help.
Yes, they can. So I wanted to get a variety. So I have both men and women, young, 23 up to, I'm not sure what age, but older. So I wanted to make sure, like, whoever read it, there's one person who is a lesbian in it. I mean, so I wanted everybody of every kind, because in our industry, truly, our industry is open and is open arms to anybody and everybody. So everybody can fit into the beauty industry. And I wanted that to show in the book.
Was there any common ground where everyone in the book experienced the same type of problems or drawbacks that kept them from moving forward?
Yes. A lot of them, it was first by trial and error. And so it's funny, each one of these people in their own ways really decided either to write down in a huge form or take notes or have whiteboards, but they all started listing all their goals, where they wanted to be by the end of the year, where they wanted to be in year 1, 2, 5, 10. And so they took those goals and they wrote out how they were going to get to that level with strategic ways of doing that. And then they also, when they were done doing particular, like this should work to increase my clientele. If it worked, perfect. They would continue doing it. If they didn't work, they'd take it off the board and actually put something else out there. So they were all very strategic. They knew what they wanted and they were determined to get it.
Now, a lot of them are, of course, mortar stores. They're on the main avenues. There's not a lot of virtual salons that I have seen online. So, did they, when they first started out, did they look for strategic positions within their community? Because that does play a big role in the amount of revenue. Or did some of them cater to their own social economic level, which is something else, or just catering to a certain brand? I know that the African Americans do this a lot because they wear their hair in the cornrows, so they need to go. So did any of them consider that as well for when they were setting their businesses up?
Absolutely. I would say 95% of them thought about where they should start their career, and they wanted to start it at a particular place. For instance, it was Drew, who at one point could have been a professional soccer player, and he thought, well, I would probably never be the best professional soccer player. So he decided to go into hair. And he was always doing everybody's hair through college and stuff. And so he decided that he wanted to really, really learn the basics and the foundation. So he went to an older Italian man who was very good at barbering and just learned the craft long ago. He chose that over going to, as he called, like a sexy, more modern place that had more buzz. But he really wanted to know the craft, the basics, and he felt he could learn a ton from the person he started with. And he did. And everybody told him he was crazy. And he said, nope, this is how I want to start. And I want my education here. I'll move on it someday. So they all had an idea where they wanted to really start. Like Matthew, he wanted to be a celebrity stylist right from the get-go. So what he did is he was a really good looking guy, and he got his his friends who are girls, and they would come over at like on a Friday night around 4, and he would do everyone's hair, and he had a makeup artist, and they do all their hair and makeup, and he'd rent a limo, and they go to the best places in town, and there'd be like 12 to 15 of them, he said, and they'd go out, and everybody who saw them walking in would like kind of turn and say, wow, they're beautiful. Who did their hair? Who did their makeup? And he built his career at first doing that and attracting the type of people he wanted to do. So it was amazing how strategic they were, but even with that, but like saying, how am I going to get there? And once I get there, then what's next?
I think you need to do that. I think you need to realize what your competition is doing, number one, and then see how you can differ from what your competition is doing while you're still chumming, as I call it, your own waters to attract your clientele. So that is the type of business know-how that any entrepreneur really needs to understand. This book, Rags to Riches, is not just for salon owners, folks. There's a lot more in-depth content and information that Karen has written in that, yes, you do need to read between the lines. And I think that's something most kids now graduating from college with degrees in entrepreneurship really don't understand. So if a college kid picks up your book and read it, what are some of the highlights? I'm not asking you to give away the information, but some of the vital organs that he would need or she would need in order to begin their own journey toward a successful salon and or spa.
First, in the book, it talks about who is your niche clients. And so my niche client is different than someone who's 25 and has blue and yellow hair and stuff like that. So it makes you dive very deep into your niche. I mean, when it's all said and done, you probably have 50 to 100 characteristics of the person you are looking for. And so much of today, people just want somebody with a heartbeat and to come in and do their hair, but you're never, when you find your niche client, they start finding you, and that's huge to build your business. The other thing that is gigantic in business, and one of the biggest things I learned doing consulting or seeing, was that people see all this money coming in and they see all this money going out, but they really don't know if they're being profitable or not. So I tell people, get an accountant, get a bookkeeper. You need to base all your decisions on financial decisions. If my staff had their way, I'd be buying stuff every week for them. Oh, there's a new bed at $6,000. Can we get it? I'm like, no. So write down every single penny you take in and every single penny you put out, and see where you are every month and what is your break-even point. Because honestly, I would go to some people, and these are like big names, huge names, and I'd go in and I'm thinking, oh man, I was so excited to meet them and see them. And then they would go, I need to tell you, I'm over $150,000 in debt. I don't know. I keep working more and harder, but I'm still in debt. So if you don't know something, find somebody who can help you. If you're not an accounting and finance person, find a bookkeeper, find an accountant. If you don't know how to structure a business, find somebody who can help you. Do what you are phenomenal at and find those with the expertise to do the other things to help you. You will save thousands of dollars. You will save unbelievable amount of time, and you will get further in your journey, wherever maybe it's to hit the $1 million mark. So those are two biggest things. Do what you're great at. Find other experts to do the things you're not sure of, so you are always on track.
Sound advice. And I might add that for my station, I keep an operational monthly sheet. And every month I write down all my expenses. And if I have any credit card debt, I write that down with the remaining balance, because that gives you a better knowledge of how much money you need to have on a monthly basis in order to operate your business. And my accountant loves it. At the end of the year, I just send it to him over the internet, and everything is right there for him, makes his life easier, makes my life easier, and your debtors will be excited to know that their money is appreciated. And while you may think it's a waste of time, because I know a lot of people do not balance their checkbooks, this is an equivalent to balancing your checkbook.
You're absolutely right on that. And it's amazing in our beauty industry that how many people they think, oh, they're making money, but if you took their P&L or in their balance sheet at the end of each month, they're not making any money. They're in debt and they don't even know it.
Yes. And I might add that a lot of people don't know how to do balancing the checkbook. I suggest you learn. I know my 10-year-old grandson has the ability to do math in his head, and he can tell me how much change I'm getting even before the cashier has to look up on the computer that tells them exactly how much change I should be getting. So if my 10-year-old grandson can do it, folks, you can learn how to do it too. Karen, please tell everybody where the listeners can see you or hear your words of wisdom all over again.
Okay, there's a couple. If you're interested in the book, it's www.iconicriches.com, Rags to Riches. If you're interested in the book, it's www.iconicriches, Rags to Riches in Action course. You can find me on LinkedIn under Karen Jones Pudetti, and my email address is kpudetti@luxspa.com.
Any words of wisdom?
Yes. If you really want to move to your next level, start taking baby steps and really start writing out a plan for yourself, but just keep moving forward. And even if you hit a roadblock, that's your learning point. If you are always comfortable and moving forward, you're not pushing yourself enough. You got to get uncomfortable for the next steps. So just keep moving forward, taking baby steps, and you'll get to where you want to be.
And dangle a carrot or whatever your sinful pleasure is in front of you at all times. So you never really catch the carrot, but it is there. Because if you stop growing, your business will fail.
Absolutely.
I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning or this evening or this afternoon, wherever you are, and listening to the words of wisdom with Karen Pudetti and her books, Rags to Riches. Please go and get it. It's over at Amazon with the cover out there and explains to you in minute detail who she is and why she's considered a worldwide expert. You can see this video all over again at youtube.com/PWR network _PW Talk Radio. You can also find us on Facebook.com/Cool Your Heels or Facebook.com/Passionate World Radio. And you can also see it on LinkedIn.com/Lillian Cauldwell. Thank you all very much for listening. And remember, please keep listening. Thank you, and have a delightful and stay out of the sun type of day.
Thank you.